Zero, obviously.
No.
I suppose it took me 12 months to... A lot of it happened whilst I was psychiatric nursing. The seeds for the inquiry, as it were planted when I was psychiatric nursing. One of the things I think most people, if not all, that go into psychiatric nursing end up doing, even if that's not the full reason they went in for it, they end up examining themselves, because you're learning about other people's thought processes and malfunctions, and you start to examine your own. You get a guy who comes in who's a serious case of, what should we say, paranoia. And of course we're all paranoid to some degree. You get somebody that comes in who's a bit loopy, and we're all a bit loopy to some degree. So you start to come to terms with the fact that these patients are merely the same as you, but they've gone beyond what is normal. Nobody knows what the pig in hell normal is anyway, and you start having thoughts like that. So that started when I was nursing, which was some years ago. But I actually made a concerted effort to find out what it was that made me work, what my ambitions were, what I was seeking in life, and what I, if anything, wanted to achieve in life. And the only major thing I did as a positive step in that direction to getting those questions answered were sitting down and writing, and not necessarily writing about me, but writing, just writing poems, most of which were banal and stupid, but poems, writing little stories, and all of those, of course, contain some part of the author, whoever that author might be. Now, on this occasion it was me. I did a lot of walking and talking to myself, and it sounds silly, but it's just a process of self-examination. There was no structure to it, there was no motivation for it other than a desire to know.
And you can honestly say to yourself, well, this is me, Alan, and if you don't like it, we'll take a jump. And
I can say that to somebody else. I can't say that to me. I can't jump away from me. I am me.
No, but, can you say this, or really deep down do you think, oh, well, yes, that's just me putting on a show? Can you really come to terms and think honestly to yourself, well, this is me, chums, and if you don't like it, well, bye-bye?
Yes, I don't have any difficulty with that at all, and I don't have any hesitation in saying, yes, that is how I live my life. And I say that to the world at large. Obviously, I don't say that to my wife, what my wife thinks of me, what my father thinks of me, what my friends, and as I said before, I can count my friends on one hand, real friends, and what they think of me is very important. Not what they think of me, but what they think of the way I'm behaving. I'll tell you an honest tale, a totally truthful tale. On Monday, in The Guardian newspaper, they have what is known as the media page.
Oh, yeah.
Now, some months ago, I was approached by a woman for whom I've got tremendous respect, or even though she is a member of the SDP, a writer, a journalistic writer called Polly Toynbee.
Oh, yes, no, well.
Right, well, Polly Toynbee wanted to dedicate her page to me. Every so often she does the page. When I say dedicated, I mean do the page about me, to interview me, and what makes him tick on the wireless. And I was really chuffed that she made that approach. I considered just the approach to be an honour. Now, nothing ever came of it. I opened The Guardian on Monday, and in there, on the media page, there was an article about a guy called Brian Hayes. Now, Brian Hayes is a very popular phone-in presenter that does the morning phone-in on LBC. That's in London. Now, Brian Hayes was one of the nominees for the Sony Award last year that I eventually won. And I honestly was quite cross that they'd done it about him. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm pigging better than him. I am honest, I'm better than him. I know the size of his audience, and I know the size of my audience, and he's got a larger audience, but he's got London to choose from. I've only got Lancashire. And I'm doing better than him in statistics. And my wife was working that day. And we did all the bit, we did the business about the paper and all that. She went out to work, and she came back for lunch, and we were sitting there, and I said, what a terrible thing for me to say. I've actually criticise the fact that this guy Brian Hayes has got all this excellent publicity in The Guardian. It was a good article, it was well written, it was very honest, very open, slightly critical of him, but mainly saying what he does is well liked. And it's absolutely right, and I've got no right in this world to question it. And so it took a couple of hours for me to come to terms with the fact that I was actually jealous of that publicity. But once I'd come to terms with that, that's it. It's there. I was jealous of that publicity. There's nothing I can do about it. That's how it is. But it's a constant process.
Get to you.
I'm sorry?
It can still get to you.
It is a constant process. It's a constant process of examining why you did something.
Right. Well, why I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I would like to attain this state. But I must admit, I could do with losing a bit of weight, about half a stone. And I'm battling the hell out of myself, and I'm starving myself, going hungry. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, who am I doing it for? Am I doing it for me? Or, will other people think, well, I'm a better person?
Well,
I just wish I could come to terms
I don't want to upset the medical listeners to this programme, but I cannot think ever that there is one good reason for losing half a stone. Because if you're just half a stone overweight, then you're fine. Forget about it.
Well, I can remember reading an article, and Terry Wogan had gone to his doctor because he was overweight.
Yeah.
And he said to his doctor, how much will I put on my life if I lose 3 stone? And he said, I won't even give you an extra day.
Right.
And then I keep thinking to myself, well, why do it? Why can't I be me? But if it's an ongoing process, I'm quite prepared to keep on learning.
Well, you're going to learn forever. But the most sorted person I've ever met, and I'm completely honest in that, the guy who is most able to live with himself was my old fella. And he was born that way, and he's still that way. And he's always, all his life, been extremely active. So active, it's unbelievable. And then suddenly, he lost the use of his legs to all intents and purposes. He needed hip replacements. And he lost the use of his legs. Had to go about on sticks and the like. And I said to him, for crying out loud, how do you feel? I mean, come on. All your life you've been running, you've been jogging, you've been climbing up and down scaffolding, and now you're crippled. How do you feel about it? And he said, what bloody difference does it make? I haven't got a choice, have I? This is how I am. So tough. And that was it.
That's smashing there, isn't it? Marvellous.
Marvellous. I'd give my eye teeth to get a 10th as good as that. But that's how it is. So it's very much a case of coming to terms with what you are and who you are. I know I'm a little fat, ugly, red-headed guy. And that's it. I am a little fat, ugly, red-headed guy. And the one thing I've found out is on the inside, I'm a little fat, ugly, red-headed guy. This damn all I can do about it. If I went out and lost 4 stone, dyed my hair black, on the inside, I'd still be a little fat, ugly, red-headed guy. So I might as well be one on the outside as well.
Well, that's very good. That's smashing advice.
All right, love.
Thanks very much indeed.
It's all right.
Thanks. Bye.
Cheers. Ta-ra. I'll do Angus.
Hi, it's myself. It's Angus.
Hey,
The girl on the phone said, is that you, Agnes? And I said, no, it's Angus. It's spelled slightly differently.
Well, she's Mutton Jeff, is Alice.
Anyway, the thing I want to talk to you about is we've recently had the budget, and
Have we?
Yeah, we have.
Good grief.
And they've knocked a penny off the standard rate of tax, And it's meant very little difference to you, and it's meant very little difference to me. And it's meant very little difference to anybody, really. But it's cost the government a hell of a lot of money.
But it's won them some votes, probably.
Well, listen, let me tell you this. I was listening on the programme on the television the other day, and they were saying that everybody's wages have gone up 7-point-something% this last year, and inflation's only gone up 5-point-something. So that's another 2% better off than most people have been. So everybody's been like 2% better off, and they've all now had another percent less on their tax. So that's like 3%. So that's a lot of money. And I'm talking about the unemployed. Now, I'm one of the fortunate people. I have a job, and I'm very grateful for it. But there's 3 million and odd people that haven't got a job. And I'm just wondering if this 3% that you were better off and the 3% that I were better off, if that money wasn't better spent sort of injected into the country and given a job to the 3.5 million people that haven't got a job. Because let me tell you this, I have a few friends now that were good lads and bags of personality, and their marriages were fine, and they had a great relationship with their children, and that's very important in life, I feel. And they had a smashing family life, and suddenly they've become unemployed, and suddenly everything's dropped down, and they've become disenchanted with life, and the families become strained, and their children haven't been the same. And all this has happened, and it's happened at the same time as you've been 3% better off, and I've been 3% better off, and all the people who are working have been 3% better off. But what about all these people who haven't had that joy of life? What about them? I feel there's a great injustice in society. I'm not making a political argument here, because I don't care who's in power. All as I'm saying is, all the people who are in work, if they this year, and it is true, by the time the new 1% reduces in taxation, and we've all had 2%, as I've mentioned before, increases, by the time all that comes through, all we in work will be that much better off, and all those out of work will still have the same real problems that they've got in life. And I want to say this, that the government have recently spent a dreadful amount of money in the papers, because there's been full-page papers talking about AIDS, this disease that's going around, and the government have got very paranoid about it. Perhaps they're right to do so, I don't really know. But it's a very serious problem. But I think it's affected like 1,400 people in Great Britain. Unemployment has affected three and something million people.
Okay, well, let me just interrupt there, because you're tending to go off your subject slightly. First of all, the cost of the publicity campaign for AIDS is minuscule, and if that amount of money, we're talking just about the publicity campaign, if that amount of money were distributed amongst just the people who are unemployed, they would probably get at the most a third of a penny each, or something equally ludicrous.
Okay.
So that's that point one. The reason for spending that money is very, very sensible. Whilst it is a fact that only however many people you said, 100,000 people, are in any way affected by AIDS, potentially AIDS is the new Black Plague. And there was a time when only 3 people had the Black Plague, but it nearly wiped out the population of Britain. So it is important that we make the public at large aware of the fact that AIDS can kill. In fact, AIDS does kill, and that you can actually get AIDS not just by being gay and picking up other gay people in public toilets. Everybody thinks you can only get AIDS by going with a guy who gets his kicks in a urinal. That is not so. You can get AIDS by sleeping with a woman. You can get AIDS by transference of blood, and all of those things need to be known by the public. I'm not suggesting that we ought to panic, and I'm suggesting if you keep your willy for yourself and one person, you're reasonably safe. Indeed,
okay, all right, I've made an error of judgment on
right,
that.
That's okay then. But that's a particular hobby horse of mine, so we've got that out of the way.
Yeah.
Now, the government says, and I'm only putting the opposition view to you, the government says it's all very well, this little bit of wealth that we've got, this 3%, or this amount of money that when distributed among the working populace turns out to be 3% of their income. If we simply gave that to the unemployed, then it wouldn't create jobs. If we ploughed it into some industry, then it would be simply a fictitious job that we create. It wouldn't be a real job. It wouldn't be a job created by demand. And it's demand, this government says, that must create the work and must create the jobs ultimately.
Well, okay, Alan, let me put this argument to you now, that we're given the 2% in the increased wages that everybody's got over inflation to the people in employment. Let's give that 2% to the unemployed. They'd still spend that money, and that money would still go into the economy. So you kind of say that simply because it goes to people who have jobs, that it's valid in the economy, whereas if it goes to people who haven't got jobs, it isn't valid in the economy.
But the 2% increase in revenue, for want of a better term, that individuals who are working, and I'm forced to tell you that, I mean, we might as well be honest, I've got considerably more than 2% increase, but the 2% that we, on average, have received has not been across the board 2% each. It has been nothing for some people, it has been a reduction for some people, and it's been very large increases for certain individuals, which does, of course, take the average upwards.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter who it goes to. The point is that, on average, it's 2% more money that's gone on wage increases than has happened in inflation. Now, it doesn't matter if it goes to Allan Beswick, who's got like 10% increase over inflation, and only sort of minus 1% to Angus. The point is that money is being released into the economy. Now, my point is...
well, that money is already in the economy.
Well, it isn't in the economy.
Of course it is.
No, it isn't.
It's coming from the products that they make or the services that they provide.
No, it's a question of taxation. And if the government...
No, the 1% is a question of taxation.
Yeah, 1% is a question of taxation. But the point I'm trying to say is the 2% on average, and I agree with you, that isn't a question of the government. But what I'm saying is it could be a question of the government. They could make the election to say, okay, Allan Beswick and Angus MacFarlane and all these other people, let's tax them. All right, there's a certain injustice in that, because you might have got 10% above inflation, and I might have got only 1% above inflation. But let's forget that, because we're the privileged few. The unfortunate situation is that you realise it, and I realise it. I mean, 10 years ago, people who had a job thought themselves, oh, well, we're just a normal people of society. But now we're almost becoming a privileged minority of society.
Well, we're a privileged majority at the moment, but I do accept your point of view.
Yeah, we're a privileged majority. Certainly we are a privileged majority, the healthy majority, but we are privileged.
I'm absolutely in agreement with you there.
And all that I'm saying, I don't want to pursue the point any further, but all that I'm saying is, and I'll let the next caller come on here, that I do honestly believe that there's a terrible injustice where we reduce taxation and make Allan Beswick and Angus MacFarlane 1% better off when there's 3.5 million people suffering the terrible deprivation of non-working. And isn't it just a point of not actually having income?
Yeah. Well, Angus, I agree with you on the taxation point. I honestly don't think the government should be giving me a pay rise. However, I do not agree with you on the ability of an employee, or indeed of a self-employed person, to pay themselves more than just an increase for inflation. Maybe that's selfish of me. In fact, yes, it is selfish of me. But I believe we should be able to negotiate for better rewards for what we do. And I don't think by saying, well, look, the profit motive exists in our society and the companies have all got to make profits and we, the workers, should not erode those profits and take some of those profits, given that it is our labours that create them, along with our colleagues. I don't mean me exclusively or the mill worker exclusively. I mean the management team. Everybody works together as a team to create those profits, and so we all ought to get a share from them. And I don't think that the answer is just simply to say, well, okay, give it to the unemployed. I'm lucky in that I work in a radio station that has made an awful lot of money. Now, I'm very proud of the fact, and it sounds silly because some of my colleagues wouldn't agree with this, but I personally am very proud of the fact that the profits we have made in this industry, the radio industry, have actually been spent buying other radio stations who at that time were in financial difficulty. So we by our labours, we, the staff of Red Rose Radio, by our labours, have created revenue that has been spent protecting jobs in this industry, which does us all in the industry some good.
Yeah, well, I'll tell that to my brother Stephen, who rang up earlier, and my brother Norman, who rang up earlier.
I thought we'd get to that eventually. Any Angus? Good to talk to you. I still think it suits you to be called Agnes. How do, Dory?
How do, Alan?
Yep.
Can I ask you some advice?
Go on.
It's about the electric meter in my house. Can I mention that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I've been in this house about 4.5 years, and I've had nothing but trouble with the meter. Now, they've gone on fire and this, that, and the other. Anyway, to top us all, early last week we had a spot check on the meter, and the lucky man spoke to my husband, who's disabled at the moment, and he said the meter had been fiddled. So when I come in, obviously, I was at work, and when I come in, my husband told me, and I phoned up the police, and I wanted to get the electricity down here with the police. They put me onto the CID, and I asked them, would they come down, and I'll phone the electricity board to check this meter with them, and they said they couldn't do that. And when I asked them why, they said if the electricity board phoned them, they would come out and sort it out, but I couldn't do it as a citizen. Is there anything else I can do?
I would get in touch immediately with an organisation called the Electricity Consultative Council.
Yeah.
And you will find their address in your telephone book.
Electricity Consultative Council.
Yes. If you can't find the address in your telephone book, then simply ring your nearest electricity showroom and ask them for the number.
Yeah, and do you think they'd help me?
Well, that is what they're there for.
So it's Consultative Council. Thank you very much.
All right, love.
Thank you.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
John will be with you after the break.
To celebrate the return of Harp Lager to the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport, we're having a special Heartbeat Party Night this Wednesday. There'll be fun for everyone, together with giveaways and prizes, including tickets to see Depeche Mode in concert. You'll be able to meet Red Rose Radio's Allan Beswick too from 7:45. So make sure you're at the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport this Wednesday.
Sounds grand. Tickets to Depeche Mode? Good Lord. I bet they've got a bucket full of them.
Preston North End means business. Put your company to the forefront of the business world at the Sportsman's Dinner of the Century, being held at Deepdale on Monday the 12th of May. An exclusive sponsorship package has been specially designed with you, the businessman, in mind. Some of the benefits offered within the sponsorship package are, for example, a table for 10 people, a pre-dinner reception to meet the stars, company advertising within the marquee and on all printed material relating to the occasion. There are many more reasons to make this a night your company can't afford to miss. Contact us now at Preston North End Commercial Department or telephone Preston 795 465 for full details.
Hello, John.
Hello, Alan. The reason why I'm ringing is because I don't want to get too complicated in the conversation, but I'm involved with a charity that puts bags through doors to collect bric-a-brac and clothes.
Yes.
Now then, what's happened is this. Without mentioning any names or anything, a gentleman has been putting bags through doors, collecting bric-a-brac and clothes, but he's been putting on the form part of the takings from the money collected from whatever's put in the bags will go to the charity. Now, is he answerable to this as regards saying part of? Because, to be quite honest, he's been ringing us up because we know who he is and he knows who we are, and
What has he been ringing you up for?
well, he used to collect bags from our shop, which I can't name.
Why is he ringing you up, was the question?
Well, I'm just trying to cover it over here, so I don't say too much actually. But he's a rag man. Are you with me?
Why was he ringing you up, was the question?
Yeah. Well, he rung us up for the simple reason that we knew that it was him that was putting out these bags. He put out bags. He copied off our leaflets that were legally put out. I can't mention the name of the charity, but he did copy.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
Word for word. But you see...
Well, just a moment. You say he copied word for word.
Yeah.
You tell me...
But he put the bit on himself as regards part of the money collected will be given to charity.
So what are you implying? You seem to be implying that he's on the make at your expense.
Well, yes, yeah.
Well, if people want to give him things, what's he doing wrong?
Well, all it boils down to, Alan, is that we're doing the work voluntary,
Yes.
and this gentleman is raining on our parade as such.
Well, quite honestly, I would ban the pair of you. Without any hesitation at all.
Why?
Because I do not want people stuffing things through my letterbox, thank you very much.
Well,
And I would ban the lot.
Well, it is for a good charitable
I don't give a damn what
organisation,
it's
but
for.
I can't mention it.
I don't
obviously.
care. I don't want you to mention it. I quite honestly would ban the lot of you. I would not have you approaching my front door, sticking things through my front door, and begging at my front door. I don't want you begging. I don't want you selling. I don't even want you knocking on my front door unless I want you there. And quite honestly, I would ban the lot of you because I think you are a pariah on society, and I think society will be better off when you are banned. And that's you and your rag and bone man too.
Well, how can I answer that?
I suggest you answer it by stop doing it immediately, but I don't suppose you will.
Even though
I do not care what it's for. If you were doing it for a charity dear to my heart, if you were even doing it for CND, I wouldn't want you doing it. I do not want people having the right to knock on private individuals' front doors merely to pester them and, if you like, to blackmail them emotionally. I don't want you there selling double glazing, encyclopedias, brushes, or any other commodity. Nor do I want you there telling me that you're wonderful and marvellous and you're doing this for somebody else. I don't want to know. I don't want my peace disturbed by you. If I wish to give to charity, there are many ways I can do so. By all means, stand in the town centre and invite people to give you things to sell. By all means, sell them flags. I buy flags like everybody else. By all means, do your charitable work in any way you see fit, but do not disturb my peace in doing so. As far as I'm concerned, you should not have the legal right to go up to people's front doors and pound on them. And it is the existence of your legal right that creates the situation when your rag and bone colleague can actually rip off the public. And if you lot didn't exist or didn't have the right to do what you're doing, he wouldn't have that right either. And yes, he is raining on your parade, but the parade stinks.
You could say the same thing about MPs as well.
I am perfectly prepared to say the same thing about MPs. I don't want political people pounding on my door either. The only people I want to knock at my door are those who I have invited. It is a way into my home. It isn't a communication process for strangers.
I understand that.
I'm glad to hear it. All right?
What we do is we just leave the bags and...
Well, I don't
hope
want
that
a bag
somebody
left at
will
my
leave
door.
something.
I don't want that bag left at my door.
No, rather than throw the stuff away.
Imagine the situation. You come home and you're a policeman and you see a black bag at your front door.
Yeah.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
Well, I wouldn't...
You've just locked up 15 IRA men.
Well, I wouldn't feel threatened.
You wouldn't feel threatened. Then you might end up dead.
What, because there was a black bag on my
No,
door?
not because there was a black bag. Remember what they tell you? If you see a strange package, call the cops. Now imagine the situation. A policeman who, 12 months before, put 15 IRA men behind bars, and he rides back to his home, and as he approaches his front door, he sees a black bag on the step.
Yeah.
Do you not think he might think, I wonder what's in that? Or do you think he'd risk getting his face blown off?
Well, in the area where I live, to be quite honest with you, Alan, I mean...
The area is irrelevant. The area is irrelevant.
You can see everybody...
The area is irrelevant. It is the principle I'm trying to get through to you. Nobody should have the right to approach your front door or any other part of your property unless they have a justifiable reason for doing so. And I do not consider begging or selling to be justifiable reasons. Both are a pain in the bum. Learn to live with it. How do, Malcolm?
Hello, Alan. Nice to hear you. I have a little quirk for you. Johnny playing just for fun shot the baby with a gun. Father said, that isn't funny. All these cartridges cost money.
That's very nice, Bob. Cheers, ta-ra.
Ta-ra.
Howdy, Bob.
Hello, Alan. How are you going on?
I'm very well. What do you want?
Listen, I thought I saw the act of human kindness today,
Go on.
but it was quickly put out of me.
Go on.
There was a sweet old lady stood at the bus stop. She had a little terrier dog. One of them with the over its eyes, you know.
Yes.
And there's a guy stood next to her. And this little dog cocked his leg up on him and did what it did. And this guy just stood there and took a biscuit out of his pocket and bent down and gave it to the dog.
And he said, I was just finding out which end to kick it. It's like the other one, the fella stood at the bus stop with a meat pie.
Go on.
And this woman came up and she had a dog with her, and the dog was going, yap, 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 yap. And he's eating a meat pie, and the dog went, yap, 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 yap. And he's still eating the meat pie, and the dog went, yap, 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 yap. And he's still eating the meat pie, and he looked at the woman, and he looked at the meat pie, and he said, do you mind if I throw your dog a bit? And she said, not at all, so he picked it up and threw it across the road. Good night! How do? To who? I've forgotten who now. How do, Dal?
Del.
Del.
Alan, can you tell me whatever happened to that pop called Cresta? Do you remember it?
Yeah, it's still about. It's frothy, man.
Yeah, well, I've not seen it.
Oh, it's still around. I don't know where you can get it from, but it's around. It comes in them little bottles now with the screw cap. You know the little ones, I mean?
Yeah.
Smart as out. Frothy. It's still got the polar bear on as well.
Oh, yeah, it's got that bird, hasn't it? Yeah. Oh, I've just been wondering, where can you get it from?
Well, I suggest you try a pop shop. How do? I've forgotten again. Tony.
All right, Alan. That bear's still chasing that fox.
I'm not surprised.
Hey, no, I'll just grab you for double standards, right?
Go on.
The sign on display in a Safeway food store in New Milton, right?
You're not allowed to say Safeway.
I am.
You're not. It's too late. How do? Oh, Daniel.
Hello.
Yeah.
Find out what wasn't means.
What means?
Wasn't foots.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't believe you.
Ah, I've got it here. in black
Go on,
and
then.
white.
Go on.
Well, it's two words.
Yeah.
Was,
Yeah.
which means to urinate,
Yeah.
and foots, which is a euphemism for that Anglo-Saxon word beginning with F. You
Sugar,
won't let me
yeah.
say.
Yeah.
So it's a wasn't foots.
Oh, I see.
You have a wasn't foots.
I'm just going for a quick was and foots. Are you really? Both ends at once. Smart as out. Ta-ra!
Goodbye.
How do, Anne? Alan, sorry. How do, Alan?
Yeah, you give so many reasonable answers to reasonable people ask you reasonable questions, but I cringe, Alan, when you say, to be honest, or this morning you say to be completely honest. We accept that what you say is your honest opinion. Why qualify it?
Oh, the answer to that is because I tell lies all the time on
No,
this
you
programme.
don't.
I do.
No, you do not.
Well,
I've not trapped you.
well, Alan, that's a
No.
lie in its own right.
You accept that. You can't say to be completely honest or even to be honest.
Well, I do accept that the word completely is irrelevant because...
Yeah, well, you said that this morning, Alan.
Right, I accept that, because honest is an absolute. You're either honest or you're not.
Yes,
but I am
you
frequently
said that.
dishonest on this programme.
You don't have to say that.
Eh?
You don't have to say to be honest, but you said completely honest. which
Yeah, well, I
is good.
accept that then. Yes, I accept.
Thank you.
I used a redundant word.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
You're not Mr. Slynn in disguise, are you?
No.
He was my English teacher, and he was a pain in the bum as well.
Did you get my check, Alan?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did, and I've sent it. You should have a letter in reply.
Who did you
I gave it to the Citizens Advice Bureau in Skelmersdale,
Oh.
who are buying a computer program to help their information system, and
Well, disabled people or whatever, or children in need, you know, something like that.
well, it went to them in actual fact, and that's because this coming Saturday I am doing a concert for the Citizens Advice Bureau in Skelmersdale, so that's the next charity I was in contact with. I'm doing a concert for them, and I've sent the cheque to their organiser, Nasli. Okay? But thank you for sending it, because
Bye.
often we get these promises and they're not kept. Cheers.
Keep them.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
Howdy, Michael.
Hello. Alan?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, I'm a self-employed taxi driver, and what I wanted to know was, just before Christmas, I was part-time taxi driver. Now, the DHSS told me, well, they told all taxi drivers around Clitheroe or wherever. Well, I live in Clitheroe, you see, and it come under us, and what they said, you have
you have a work and don't taxi drive. No, you have a taxi drive and don't claim. You could work...
they tell you you've either got to be working or not working, but they're not going to let you do taxi driving part-time. That's what they told you.
Yeah, well, you're allowed to earn, £4 a week?
Go on.
Right. And they give us an ultimatum. They said, even if we work an hour a week on this part-time taxi driving, they said, you either drive and don't claim, or you claim and you don't drive.
Yeah.
And now, are they allowed to do that?
Well, they're allowed to do it. Whether it would be upheld by law, I don't know. I'm prepared to doubt it. But why do you want to do it part-time if it's available for you to do it full-time?
Yeah, well, at the time...
The great problem is, of course, that an awful lot of your colleagues, perhaps not the majority, but a lot of your colleagues are claiming the various benefits and working at the same time. It's an easy business to do it in.
Right.
And it's difficult for the DHSS to catch you. Unfortunately, they don't catch enough of you, and unfortunately, when they do, not enough if you go to jail for long enough.
Correct.
But it is difficult for the DHSS. So they've tried to bring in a policy, a local policy, that hinders, or at least establishes, that they're going to go and get you if you're out taxi driving and claiming. They're going to assume that anyone that is taxi driving and claiming benefit is actually fiddling.
Oh, I see.
Because there's so much cash changes hands, isn't there? That there's no sensible and, if you like, accurate way that they can quantify it.
Yeah, well, within the law being you can earn, so much a week and declare at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was declaring, say, now whoever's been, whoever fiddles or whatever, I don't know what goes on.
But what you need to do, to be honest, Michael, is you need to get an interpretation of the Social Security regulations. Now, I haven't even got a copy of them, so I can't interpret them for you.
Yeah.
You can try your Citizens Advice Bureau, or alternatively, it might be worth contacting your MP. Particularly if he or she is a Tory MP, because they're all about private enterprise. There's you getting your finger out, getting on your bike and getting a job, and there's the DHSS telling you to stop it. So try your MP. Might be worth a laugh. Okay?
Thank you.
Cheers, ta-ra.
A far, far better furniture store. Edmondson's of Blackburn, a far, far better furniture store. For lounge, dining room and bedroom furniture, for famous names in quality carpets, for all home furnishings. Edmondson's offers choice. Edmondson's gives first-class service, and Edmondson's guarantees value for money. All round a far, far better furniture store at Darwin Street, Blackburn. A far, far better furniture store. Edmondson's.
Blinking heck, Dad, why don't you get a decent radio to match this flash car?
Well, that one cost an arm and a leg, but it's never been much good.
You need to contact West Horton Car Radio, mate. They've got superb systems by Blaupunkt and Panasonic. Hey, and they've got the Blaupunkt D-Stock range at less than half the normal price. None of this distortion like with one of them.
Blaupunkt what?
Blaupunkt. It's German, ain't it? I thought you were supposed to be brainy. Hey, you can also get electric windows, vehicle alarms and car phones fitted by West Horton Car Radio.
So find the right station with West Horton Car Radio, Church Street, West Horton. Phone West Horton 814-229 before you crack up.
All white taxis are at your service 24 hours a day. Just call Southport 37777 for a fast, reliable response. Popping into town today? Why worry about the problems of parking? All white taxis can solve your problem at a very reasonable cost. Or if you're having a night out, make sure you enjoy it to the full. Just book all white taxis. Book now on Southport 37777.
To celebrate the return of Harp Lager to the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport, we're having a special Heartbeat Party Night this Wednesday. There'll be fun for everyone, together with giveaways and prizes, including tickets to see Depeche Mode in concert. You'll be able to meet Red Rose Radio's Allan Beswick too from 7:45. So make sure you're at the Scaresbrick Hotel on Lord Street, Southport this Wednesday.
And that, of course, is tonight. I will be back in time to do this abomination of a programme, but before that, I'll be at the Scaresbrick Hotel, Lord Street in Southport. I hope to see you there. Meanwhile, we'll talk to Paul. How do?
In Southport will be Allan Beswick at a hotel called the Scaresbrick. Go and meet him, give him some welly, go and see his enormous belly. But don't be silly, because he'll cut off your willy.
Alan?
Go.
What do you call somebody in Liverpool with a job?
Liar.
What do you call somebody in Lancashire with half a brain?
A genius.
Gifted. Okay. I'll see you now.
I'll do. It will be a pleasure tomorrow. I mean, Southport, I suppose, despite the desires of the populace, Southport is in Merseyside, so don't be shy. Chance would be a fine thing of a Scouser being shy, but do come along and say hello. We won't be doing an argue with Alan, although there's every chance that the whole place might develop into one, but do come along and say hello. I'll be there doing my bit and possibly signing little chunks of paper with my picture on if you wish, but we'll be saying hello if not else. How do Keith?
Oh, Al. This little story my little lad come home from school with yesterday. I thought it'll tickle you, this one. Why do pigeons fly upside down in Liverpool?
Because I can't remember. It was something to do with they don't even want to crap on the Scousers. I seem to remember.
Damn it, they're not fit to shit up.
Well, I was trying to be polite, as is my wont. Hey, thank you, Keith. Right. That's a dreadful thing to say. It's a calumny.
Is it, Ed?
Ta-ra. 3 minutes to 2. Keith was our final caller this evening. Thank you for everyone that took part. If you didn't, then why not? What do you think we're sitting here for 4 picking hours? Then again, it could possibly be because you couldn't get through all those people that are still engaging our telephone lines. You're wasting your time. Webster will be along soon, and I'll be here at 10 o'clock tonight. I will, of course, be at the Scareswick Hotel in Southport this evening at 7:45.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket Waterloo Road.
If you want to shop for the real bargains, you'll be well advised to visit the Newmarket and M2 Market on Waterloo Road, Blackpool. They're over the road from one another, which makes shopping for bargains all the more convenient. But beware of imitations. When you've found the Newmarket, you've found the M2 Market, and vice versa. Shop at the Newmarket and M2 Market, opposite each other on Waterloo Road, Blackpool. They're the original, and they're still the best.
It's the place to come, where shopping can be fun. The Newmarket Waterloo Road.
Don't miss Act 1's production of the musical Sweet Charity at Preston's Charter Theatre from April the 29th to the 3rd of May. Sponsored by MPH Facina Windows of Preston in association with Red Rose Radio, Sweet Charity is the hilarious story of a warm-hearted girl who gives her love and her money to the wrong man every time. Set in New York during the swinging 60s, this musical experience includes such great songs as Hey Big Spender and If They Could See Me Now. Tickets are available from the Guildhall Preston, priced at £2.50 and £3, with reductions for senior citizens, children and parties of 10 or more. Get your tickets today.
So that's it. Don't forget this week's writing competition. I want to know, in a full rainbow, what colour is in the middle? For the lady that said it can't be in the middle because it's 7 and it won't divide by 2. Garbage. It can be in the middle. It is in the middle. All I want you to do is tell me what it is. You could win a Red Rose Radio on jogging suit. You might even go to Jersey. I'll see you tonight at 10. Ta-ra.
2 o'clock news. This is Therese Birch. Helicopter tycoon Allan Beswick has named the 2 leading Tory peers he claims tried to bribe him with a knighthood during the Westland affair. He's revealed them in a letter to Speaker of the Commons Bernard Wetherill. This emerged as police were told to look into Mr Bristow bribe claim to see whether there should be a prosecution. From Westminster, here's Terry Dignan.
The police would certainly like to know the names of the 2 peers who allegedly offered the helicopter chief a knighthood. So there may be pressure on Mr Wetherill to reveal their identities. Meanwhile, the Commons Industry Select Committee has made an official complaint over Mr Bristow's refusal to answer its request for the 2 peers to be named. Some members of the committee may feel that the Speaker should publish Mr Bristow's letter. Mrs Thatcher has denied all along that she offered to make Mr Bristow a knight if he dropped his support for the European Consortium. Terry Dignan, IRN, Westminster.
A Satanist accused of fleecing dozens of committed Christians will today be giving evidence for the first time in his 6-week trial. Derry Mannering Knight faces a string of deception charges at Maidstone Crown Court. Linda Duffin reports.
Knight, who's a self-confessed Satanist, faces 19 charges of deception. He's accused of conning wealthy Christians out of more than £200,000, supposedly to free himself from a Satanist organisation. Knight denies the charges, but witnesses who've given evidence so far have told the court how he spent money on cars and women. Today will be the first time in 6 weeks that Knight himself has appeared in the dock when the trial restarts later this morning following a fortnight's recess. Linda Duffin, IRN, Maidstone.
Prison officers around the country are voting today on whether to take strike action that would throw the prison system into chaos. The strike ballot comes in the middle of crisis talks to end the dispute over prison officers' working conditions and overtime. Dave Loyne reports.
Talks to end the crisis in Britain's jails ended without agreement last night. The two sides will meet again this afternoon, with union leaders demanding more prison officers working longer hours than the Home Office say they can afford. The unions say Britain's prisons are a powder keg waiting to explode, and they're urging a yes vote in today's strike ballot to give them muscle in the negotiations. If the talks fail, Britain's jails could be paralysed in just 3 weeks by prison officers refusing to take in new inmates.
Voters will be going to the polls in West London constituency of Fulham in a little over 24 hours' time. The bookmakers at least think the outcome of the parliamentary by-election is a foregone conclusion. Ladbrokes have stopped taking bets for Labour to win and are just keeping their books open for the race for second place. Eleanor Curtie reports.
Fulham is one of the seats Labour say they must win if they're to have a clear majority after the next general election, and they maintain they're on course to victory. The Conservatives, on the other hand, say they're confident that they will win, and the SDP Liberal Alliance believe they're in with a chance if they can win the support of last-minute waverers. In the last few days, the parties have been bringing in their big guns. There are 8 other candidates in the by-election.
Independent Radio News.